Do y'all know that the average American doesn't have any money left over, if but maybe $200 or $300 left after they get paid every 2 weeks or every month? Did y'all know that? I'm sorry, but that I literally feel like drive me to voluntary homelessness. I would volunteer to be homeless. There's no way they'd have me out here working for anybody and I can't live life after I pay bills. Y'all can have these bills back. Take the car, take the crib. You can have it. Listen, I'm going to be homeless on the streets before I dare. Because, see, the way I'm set up, my Father which art in heaven would never have that be my portion. That's not my portion. There's no way that paying bills and not having any money left over to really exist, that's not my portion. That's not my portion. My portion.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living?
We're not. Truth of the matter, most of us are living paycheck to paycheck with credit card debt. I know people who are legitimately putting gas and groceries on credit cards just so that they can get back and forth to work. I believe that this is what most people are now calling the silent depression. $100 has become the new $20 and it's ridiculous, but the best thing about it is that people have shifted their core values.
I'm about to be homeless in like 2 days. I don't want your pity or I don't want you to feel bad for me. But what I would like is for anyone to know what it's like to live in your car and maybe some essentials that I can pick up that's going to be super helpful.
Our car just got towed. We have not paid our rent yet. We need the car to pay the rent. Oh my goodness. I feel like I've been doing really good on my Bible study. Doing really good praying and trying to keep my faith, you know, believing that God has a bigger plan. But it's just like I just keep getting hit. Like our family, not just me, our family just keeps getting hit. Like Zay and I have been through a lot, bro, a lot, and this is just like the icing on the cake. Oh my God.
That's crazy. Lettuce is $20.
I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe it was
Like,
marked weird.
is the lettuce made of gold now? What are they doing to this lettuce? $20? You gotta be joking me.
I am selling my house and I'm getting ready to move back with my parents yet again. I am single. I do have a 9-to-5 job where it does not pay me nearly enough to cover the bills. And I've had this house for about 3 years now, and I am just exhausted. I am drowning, barely surviving, not being able to make repairs because the house is now falling apart, and I have no money in my savings to fix it. I have been saving for the past 3 years. All I've been doing is working and going straight home. I don't go out. I don't spend money on like coffee or anything. I tried to save as much money as possible so I could get some money to make repairs for this house to make it nice and comfortable and livable. But I am at my wit's end now, and I'm just tired. I honestly want to leave my job, my 9-to-5 job that's not paying me well enough to even cover the bills. I'm exhausted. I want to leave, but then I'm stuck with this house, and I just don't want any of it anymore.
The manifestation community is indirectly taking advantage of people who live paycheck to paycheck. People who live paycheck to paycheck are wanting to manifest a better life for themselves. In fact, according to lendingclub.com, I believe the website is, 61% of people in the United States live paycheck to paycheck, right? And even those who earn six figures, 44% of people who earn six figures in the United States live paycheck to paycheck. The law of attraction in the spiritual community can project this new way to break free and escape and manifest your dream lifestyle. In fact, I personally got caught up in it because I grew up in the ghetto, right? I am still uneducated according to the matrix, according to the system. I function with high functioning autism. I experience attention deficit. I experience dyslexia. And so for me, growing up, being a teenager, trying to make stuff happen, trying to focus, trying to learn, I realized that, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit me. This system and the way that it works doesn't fit me. And so my mom at the time was trying to do the best that she could. And she was trying to tell me, hey, I should get a job. And I did end up getting a job, and I became a forklift driver, and I somewhat enjoyed what I did. However, at the same time, there was something deep inside me, especially after reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I knew there were other ways to make money. And I kind of got into like network marketing and business and eventually online business. And back then, YouTube was a baby. And I don't know if you've been on YouTube for that long, but I got started when MySpace was around, when FacePic was around. I don't know if you remembered any of these websites. And, I've been doing business online for over 17 years now. And it's radically transformed my life since. So the law of attraction community did spark this inspiration for me to see more in myself that I'm capable to make stuff happen. However, as we know, we're facing so much bigger things in our society, in the economy. And I'm not saying this to create belief systems about the economy. I'm not doing this to push people down or create restriction between you and your goal and the life that you want to manifest. But I want you to know what you're up against so that you're not falling for the idea and the delusion of just magically manifesting your lifestyle. I think we have to learn to be different, and we need to realize that our jobs, our careers are almost becoming outdated, especially with AI coming around. And we need to pivot, right? Things are moving more towards online, working from home, and AI. And many, many jobs in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years will no longer exist because it's going to be taken over by the system, by the matrix. And so we need to understand that this is not just about woo-woo manifesting. And I teach somewhat manifesting, but I also teach realizing who you really are and that you are source itself and that you're not broke. You're up against a system that's rigged against you. And now is not the time to be an independent woman or an independent man, right? Now is not the time for that, right? We need a partnership. And we're kind of leading back to that. But things like feminism has caused us to be going for our own, individual, live your best life kind of thing. And society is not set up in that way. And it's heading in the direction of the economy and normal jobs, right, being outsourced to things like AI, right? And so we have to begin to realize this, that, when I come to Asia, right now I'm living in Asia, but when I go to the airports in Singapore and Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and all these places, they got robots doing things for them, making coffee and all this kind of stuff, right? There's no coffee server. There's a coffee machine making the coffee, right? A coffee AI robot thing making the coffee, right? And so if you look at China and Asia, you'll see, because the technology is more advanced there, where things are going, right? And so when it comes to relationships, many of us are on these dating sites and, we want to be in a relationship based on love. I would go as far to say, stop focusing on so much being about love and romanticism, because essentially we're in a system that's rigged and we need a 2 household income in order to at least be able to save something, save some money, start investing into property and stuff like this. And, as you saw in probably the clips before this video, most people are only ending up with $200, $300, $400 to their name after they've paid all their bills, right? And so the law of attraction and manifesting your life has power But I don't want you to get lost in the idea of thinking that this magical thing's gonna happen unnecessarily. I want people to understand that we also need to be practical. We have to come back to who we really are. We have to realize that we are source, that we are presence, that we are the universe, that this paycheck to paycheck thing is living within the matrix, and you're serving the matrix and you're giving power to the external reality. We are working to pay bills. We are working to pay for our car, to pay for our home, to pay for water, food, electric, and all this stuff. We're paying to survive. That doesn't make any sense, right? As a human being, you pay to live. You know, it doesn't, if you really think about it, it doesn't actually make any sense at all. And we are sovereign, right? You know, we can eat off of the land, right? If all these systems weren't set up, and by the way, I'm grateful for all of these systems and the convenience of being able to go to the store and buy an apple, right? And that's why they call it the convenience store, right? And so it's very convenient that I don't have to go find a tree or look for food and, you know, whatever, right? But at the same time, we are lost in the matrix, and we don't realize that if I start taking the steps to figure out how I can work from the internet, or how I can work from home, or how I can work with AI, or trading, or whatever it is, where I don't have to commute to work, I don't have to go to a physical location, I can live in another country where the living cost is much lower, or I can move to a state with a lower living cost but a high safety, right? That now puts you in a position of power to be able to save, to be able to invest, to be able to take care of your family, your friends. And you got to start now. And this is a very serious thing, and it's not going to get any better, all right? And so, you know, for me, it's like, okay, we have the, you know, spirituality, and we want to meditate, and we want to take time for ourselves, and, you know, love ourselves, and, you know, be at a high vibrational frequency and all this stuff. But at the same time, yes, we've got to be practical. So there's a lot of pressure on people's heads. I speak to people every week, you know, 4 days, 5 days a week, coaching them one-on-one, doing group coaching. And the reality is people are having a very hard time. That is the reality, right? People are having a hard time. And whilst we can be positive and, you know, think positive about our situations and all this stuff, at the same time, it's like, what's the next step? What's the plan? The plan is to realize you are source, that you are presence, and starting to embody that state and taking back your sovereignty, because things are going to change, right? But the sovereignty, the source, knowing that you are source, knowing that you are the universe, knowing that you are God, and that you are all things, is one of the, or probably the most powerful way to operate and perceive reality. And so there's no need to manifest from that space anymore. It's realizing your power, that I don't need to identify as an action taker. I don't need to identify as someone who procrastinates. I don't need to identify with sadness necessarily. These are all energy forms that are just flowing through in any given time or moment. Right? The idea of limiting beliefs and subconscious blocks and abundance blocks and all of this stuff. These are energy forms that are you, right? You are them, they are you, right? There's no separation. We put labels on them. However, they are you. And once we start to merge everything as one, these limiting beliefs and ideas and concepts can no longer exist in the same form or in the same way and affect you and stop you from achieving your goals, which there are no goals, because the goal is always you. There is no goals outside of yourself, but the universe, or should I say, not the universe, the matrix has convinced you that you need to chase a goal, that you need to go after a goal, or you need to manifest a better life, or whatever it is. Yeah, but Gavin, I do want a better life. I do want to be able to travel. I do want to be able to have a better home, or, create a legacy for my children. I want to create wealth, right? I want to create generational wealth. I want to be able to do these things and impact the world and help people and live out my passion and all of these things. When we operate from a space of source or presence or God, when we start to realize that's who we really are, when we realize the system is rigged because it keeps us away from realizing that we are source, then we take our sovereignty and our power back. And so the idea is that you want these goals of traveling and working from home, or, starting your own passion work, all this stuff, is also thought. It's also the ego. It's also your mind, right? And it's creating still the illusion of separation. It's creating distance between you and the thing as soon as you think that you want to get it, that you desire it. God or the universe is not desiring anything, because it's just one. And once we realize we are one, we are connected to all things, right? And it's just about remembering. So that's the first step. The first step is always remembering that I, Amy, or Jonathan, or whatever your name is not creating a goal. It's not chasing after the goal, right? The goal is done, right? It's here, it's now, it's presence. There's no separation between you and the thing. You realize everything as source. You realize everything as God. Even you, even the voice that you use to speak, even the narrative and the stories in your mind, even the belief systems or the lies that you tell yourself, that I'm overweight, or I'm fat, or I'm skinny, or I'm broke, or I'm rich. What is rich? What is poor? Who says that is rich and this is poor, right? These are all systems and matrix and labels for the system, right? These are all lies. Everything outside of ourselves, even our own emotions and our thoughts, are lies. In fact, emotions are probably the most unreliable things that we have inside of ourselves, right? Emotions and our beliefs, right? Why? Because every emotion is based on your conditioning. And sometimes, we have an emotion or we have a feeling called intuition. And intuition can be very complex. It can be intuition based on conditioning. So is it really intuition or is it conditioning? So we got to be very careful with emotions and understanding that we are always chasing an emotion. We're always trying to avoid an emotion. We're not afraid of anything in this life apart from pain, physical pain, and emotion. That's the only two things we can be afraid of: physical pain and emotion. Gavin, I'm afraid of meeting someone new again, and I'm not able to handle it. Or I'm afraid to make a lot of money, and then people treat me differently. Or I'm afraid that I'm not enough, or I'm an imposter, or whatever it is. All of these things are feelings and emotions that you're afraid to feel and experience within your body. It's not the outside thing. If you're afraid to speak on stage, you're not afraid to speak on stage. You're afraid of what speaking on stage makes you feel. Makes you feel anxiety or fear or whatever. So this is why emotions are unreliable, right? They are energy forms just flowing through our body. And we label them anxiety, we label them fear, we label them doubt, we label them imposter syndrome, right? But really, it's just one energy. It's just the universe. It's just God. You're just experiencing God. And once you realize that you are that energy and that energy is you and all of it is God, now you emerge back into the oneness. And so the matrix has a lot of pressure, right? We have women with taking care of children, and usually there's a lot of single mums, right? I don't even like to use the term single mom. You're not a single mom, you're a mom, right? And even single fathers, right? We have fathers, and then it's all one household income, and then we've got things like divorces and all this chaos, all this garbage that doesn't make any sense at all. If we just learn how to treat each other well, right? If we just learn how to be in harmony with ourselves and realize that we are God, there will be no problems in our relationships. We wouldn't be having all these breakups and divorces and divorce court and single moms and yada, yada, yada. And then, now we're having to make sure we're financially secure and chasing our dreams and putting all this pressure on ourselves. Society, the way that our brain is designed, in society, we're not designed to handle all these pressures. It's way too much, way too much. And we're out here thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me, or why am I not doing it? Why am I not taking action? Why am I not chasing my dreams, or why am I not making progress, or why am I chasing my success and I seem to get there and it's just not working out, or why the door's not opening, why the floodgates opening for me? There's so many hidden limitations based on the matrix that has been pressed upon you that you can't even see. And the main one I'm talking about here is money, and how the living costs, especially in the United States, in the United Kingdom, probably in Canada and Australia and all of these places, is very difficult. And so we're stretched and we're a slave to the system, trading our hours for some money so that we can live and survive and eat. And at the same time, I want to bring some compassion and some love and some positivity to this, that we're also in that contributing to the world, and we're supporting other people, and we're helping people directly and indirectly with the services and companies and stuff that we are working for. But the reality is the money doesn't meet the living costs. You think, Gavin, I want to manifest more money. It's not necessarily about manifesting more money, right? It's about how do we break free from the matrix and change our lifestyle, right? We upgrade the car, we upgrade the house, right? We upgrade the kids' clothes and all of this stuff. We upgrade and we get the new phone, the new iPhone. Again, stuck in the matrix, stuck in the illusion, right? Rather than thinking, okay, how do I move to a state? How do I figure out moving to a state where the cost of living is lower? Or how do I move to a country, work from home, and make money from working from home? There are plenty of careers and jobs now where you can work from home, right? And so you can live in another country. Right now I'm in Bali, and there's so many people here that have a regular job, but they're living in Bali and the living cost is low, right? But their income is substantially higher than the living costs. So, you're paying $400, $500 per month for rent, right? And then you get to save, let's say you're making $2,000, $3,000, you get to save a significant amount per month. Now you can actually grow your income. Yeah, but Gavin, what about my family and my friends and all of this stuff, and like the schools and schooling and all this stuff? Everything is figure outable. Don't sell yourself the narrative of the ego. The ego is going to say this stuff. What about this? What about that? What about this? What, I can't do this. What, right? Narrative, stories, narratives, excuses, narratives, stories, belief systems, ideas, ego. What is presence saying? If you come back to God, you come back to who you really are, you come back to the truth, you realize the lies that you're telling yourself. What if I make a mistake? What if I get it wrong? What if I lose my job? Well, that's life. That's life. Figure it out. Right? Once you get to that point, figure it out. Right? And I'm saying this from a place of understanding, like you can probably hear my voice, I'm passionate about this. I'm saying this from a place of the system is rigged. The system is against you. It's not for you at all, right? It's set up for you to live paycheck to paycheck. It doesn't want you to thrive. It wants you to be a slave. And so what are we going to do? Be woo-woo and manifest and just keep buying manifestation product after manifestation product? Or, listen to manifestation videos and trying to find a way and being inspired and getting that dopamine release and saying, no, we got to be also very practical. What are the things that I can do right now, or changes that I can make in my lifestyle where I can bring down my living costs? Right? Can I change state? Can I live in a smaller home? Can I change my car? Can I sell my car? Right? Can I, instead of buying this soap, I'm going to buy this cheaper soap? Right? What little things can we do where it all adds up? Right? And start making those changes. Right? It's simple, but it's not easy. Right? It's not easy because our mind going to tell us a story, and the story leads to something that we feel because we're only afraid of feelings. What if I let down my family? What if I miss my family? What if I rub someone the wrong way from, living out my dream life, right? These are all stories that the brain is saying. You have no control about how other people feel or what other people experience based on the life that you are living and the changes that you are making. Don't let shame or guilt run the show in your life. On the map of consciousness, shame and guilt are the lowest vibrational frequencies, and they hold a lot of people back from seeing success. And some of the highest financially successful people have very little guilt and very little shame, which is why they're able and capable to make money. If you want to make money, you have to build a relationship with shame and guilt, and that it's okay to feel those things and still do whatever it is that you want to do, need to do in order to create the life that you want. Yeah, I feel guilty, but I'm going to take action on that goal anyway, right? Yeah, I feel shame or about moving to another state or whatever. But guess what? I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. Right? I'm going to make it happen. And this is not listening to the narrative and story. And if we go even further than that, right? If you come back to presence, you just see the narrative that this is shame, this is guilt, it's just energy passing by, energy flowing through my body. It's just an emotion, and emotions are unreliable. They are not the truth. What is the truth? The truth is I need to get the hell out of Dodge, right? I need to get out of this matrix system. I need to break free from the illusion, right? And take back my sovereignty. So it's like, I'm not broke because there's something wrong with me. Oftentimes we are broke because the system is rigged for us to be broke so that we can remain cogs in the wheel and a slave to the system. If you would like to start breaking free from the matrix and realizing that you are presence, realizing that you are God, realizing that you are the universe, and practicing presence on a daily basis so that your vibration, your energy is just operating on a God frequency, then check out the link in the description and join the Practicing Presence newsletter completely free.